You're watching McCook News.
Welcome back, everyone. Today, we're diving into the ongoing Boeing machinist strike. Let's explore why this strike started and what's at stake.
The beginning of the crisis betrayal from 10 years ago. The broader economic context: rising costs and stagnant wages. Boeing's CEO and corporate profits: a stark contrast. Outsourcing and quality concerns: Boeing's shift in priorities. The machinists demands what they want and why it matters. The larger labor movement in America. The path forward: will Boeing listen? Let's get into the details. Welcome back. Today, we're diving deep into a story that is shaking the very foundations of American manufacturing. The ongoing Boeing machinist strike. Thousands of skilled workers are standing up for what they believe in, and it's not just about wages. It's about dignity, fairness, and the future of American labor. This strike symbolizes a larger movement across the country, so let's break down why this strike matters and what is at stake. The crisis began a decade ago when Boeing workers faced a drastic contract change in 2014, which eliminated pensions, froze wages, and raised healthcare costs. This deal, passed under pressure, ignited resentment among machinists. Bruce McFarland, president of IAM 751 Local E, highlights the betrayal by Boeing and local leaders who urged acceptance of the contract to maintain jobs. Now, machinists are striking to rectify the issues caused by this agreement.
To understand this strike, we have to go back 10 years. In 2014, Boeing workers faced a critical turning point. The company, which had long been considered a gold standard for employment in the Northwest, pressured its machinists into a contract that fundamentally changed their livelihoods. The deal, which workers say was forced upon them, eliminated pensions, froze wages, and drastically increased healthcare costs. The deal barely passed, approved by just a slim margin during the holiday season when many workers were away. That was the beginning of the resentment that has now exploded into the strike we're witnessing today. According to Bruce McFarland, president of IAM 751 Local E, this was a betrayal. Not only by Boeing, but also by local and state leaders, who pushed workers to accept the contract to keep jobs in Washington state. A decade later, these machinists are fighting to undo the damage caused by that fateful deal.
The strike is gaining traction due to the worsening economic situation, characterized by skyrocketing inflation in the U.S., with the Consumer Price Index rising over 14% since 2020. Essential costs for food, housing, and healthcare have surged, straining American families. Despite these increases, Boeing's wage offers in recent negotiations have failed to keep up, with many machinists experiencing a decline in real wages when adjusted for inflation. Proposed wage increases in low single digits are seen as inadequate compared to rising living costs.
To understand why this strike is resonating with so many, it's crucial to look at the broader economic picture. Inflation in the United States has skyrocketed in recent years, with the Consumer Price Index climbing by over 14% since 2020 alone. Basic necessities like food, housing, and healthcare have all become significantly more expensive, putting enormous pressure on American families. Meanwhile, despite these rising costs, the wages Boeing offered its workers in the latest contract negotiations are simply not keeping pace. For many machinists, the real value of their wages has actually declined when adjusted for inflation. The company's proposed wage increases, typically in the low single digits, have been dismissed by workers as insufficient when compared to the cost of living spikes that have occurred.
The stark contrast in Boeing's leadership compensation highlights the disconnect between executives and machinists. Former CEO Dennis Muilenburg left in 2019 with a $62 million exit package after overseeing the crisis from the 737 MAX incidents. Meanwhile, the average salary for a Boeing machinist ranges from $60,000 to $80,000. With their proposed wage increases being insignificant compared to the multi-million-dollar packages received by top executives. This disparity is a significant factor fueling the strike.
To further highlight the disconnect, let's look at Boeing's leadership. Boeing's former CEO, Dennis Muilenburg, left the company in 2019 with a massive $62 million exit package despite overseeing one of the worst crises in Boeing's history. The 737 MAX debacle that led to multiple crashes and grounded fleets worldwide. While the machinists struggle to secure basic protections, these high-level executives continue to reap enormous rewards. In comparison, the average Boeing machinist salary is around $60,000 to $80,000 per year. Even the wage increases they are fighting for would barely put a dent in the multi-million-dollar packages that top executives routinely receive. This stark contrast between the top and bottom of the company is one of the driving forces behind the strike.
A key issue for machinists is Boeing's growing reliance on outsourcing since its 1997 merger with McDonnell Douglas, which has led to production being shifted overseas in favor of cheaper parts. This strategy has resulted in quality concerns and supply chain disruptions, notably during the 737 MAX crisis. Many machinists believe that prioritizing profits over quality has harmed Boeing's reputation. Workers like Bruce McFarland argue that outsourcing compromises safety and diminishes the pride associated with manufacturing iconic aircraft.
Another issue central to the machinists' grievances is Boeing's increasing reliance on outsourcing. Since its 1997 merger with McDonnell Douglas, Boeing has increasingly shifted production abroad, opting for cheaper parts from the lowest bidding suppliers. This has led to quality issues and significant supply chain disruptions, as was painfully evident during the 737 MAX crisis. Many machinists feel that this shift toward maximizing profits at the expense of quality has damaged the company's reputation. Workers like Bruce McFarland argue that by outsourcing so much of its production, Boeing has not only compromised safety but has also eroded the pride that comes with building some of the world's most iconic aircraft.
Machinists are fighting for three primary demands: the restoration of their pensions, competitive wages that keep pace with inflation, and control over healthcare costs, as many have faced rising medical expenses. Boeing's latest offer, which includes modest wage increases and minor healthcare concessions, has been rejected by workers as inadequate. They contend that given the billions in profits the company makes and the substantial tax breaks from Washington state, it is reasonable to demand more.
So, what exactly are the machinists fighting for? Their demands are clear: restoration of their pensions, which were stripped away 10 years ago; competitive wages that keep pace with rising inflation and match the value they provide to the company; healthcare cost control, as many workers have seen their medical expenses skyrocket over the past decade. Boeing's latest offer, which includes modest wage increases and some minor healthcare concessions, has been dismissed by workers as insufficient. They argue that in an industry that posts billions of dollars in profit and where executives make millions, it's not unreasonable for them to ask for more, especially considering the massive tax breaks Boeing has received from the state of Washington.
The Boeing machinist strike is part of a larger labor movement in the U.S., where workers across various industries are reacting against corporate greed. Recent strikes, including those by the UAW and Hollywood writers and actors, indicate a resurgence of labor activism not seen in decades. This movement transcends wage concerns, focusing on dignity, respect, and fair treatment, as workers, including those at Boeing, are frustrated with being asked to sacrifice while their employers earn record profits.
The Boeing machinist strike isn't happening in isolation. Across the country, workers from various industries are pushing back against what they see as corporate greed. From the recent UAW strikes to the ongoing Hollywood writers and actors strikes, we are witnessing a resurgence of labor activism not seen in decades.
As the strike continues, the critical question is whether Boeing will listen to its workers and provide a fair contract that ensures machinists can retire with dignity and support their families. The choice lies between pursuing short-term profits or fostering long-term stability. The machinists are not only fighting for their futures but for the future of American labor as a whole. The struggle for better wages and working conditions is ongoing, and viewers are encouraged to engage in the conversation.
As the strike drags on, the question remains: will Boeing listen to its workers? Will they offer a world-class contract that allows these machinists to retire with dignity and provide for their families? Or will they continue down the path of short-term profits and long-term instability? One thing is clear: these machinists aren't just fighting for their own futures, they're fighting for the future of American labor as a whole.
The battle for better wages and conditions is far from over. Leave your thoughts in the comments below, and let's keep this conversation going.
And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into the most important stories shaping our world today. I am Ink, and I look forward to bringing you more helpful news next time.